I think one of the biggest takeaways from the research that we have is that people with MECFS, whether triggered by long COVID or a different infection or stressor, we have research that points to all the dysfunction in the body. And the best thing we can do is listen to our bodies. Lay down when you need to lay down. Don't push through symptoms. The symptom that differentiates MECFS from other illnesses is referred to as post-exertional malaise. So after exertion, feeling crappy. It's an increase in symptoms that can happen 24 to 48 hours after an activity. This activity can be physical, cognitive, or emotional. It could be something large for somebody who is mildly ill, like running a mile, or it could be something small for someone who is very severe, like rolling over in bed. When a person exerts themselves too much beyond their capabilities, or what we would call their energy envelope, they experience a crash. The crash is a flare of symptoms. A lot of people describe it like the flu. For example, the first few times I crashed were from physical activity. I did cardio for 6 minutes on an exercise bike. 8 hours later, which is less than they say it's supposed to be, 8 hours later, I experienced what felt like the flu. Now, if I never did that activity again, I probably would have assumed I caught a bug. But since physical therapy was every single Tuesday morning, and then every single Tuesday night, I thought I got a bug, it became pretty obvious to connect the dots. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too late before it penetrated my brain, because repeated crashing is detrimental. And if we start with our baseline up here and continue to crash and crash and crash, our baseline then for activity moves down way low. For activities that aren't planned like that, it can be impossible to figure out why you're crashing, especially if it's potentially two different cognitive activities. For example, you're doing a spreadsheet and paying bills in the same day, or you read for too long and then watched a movie. And again, if you're very severe, these activities can be what a healthy person would consider next to nothing. Brushing your teeth, taking a shower, standing up to walk to the bathroom, feeding yourself. Activity and symptom tracking can be really helpful to note and try to find trends in your illness. The cognitive dysfunction that's associated with this illness makes it very difficult to remember things sometimes and figure out what's happening. There is research that shows physiological differences in people with MECFS whenever they have post-exertional malaise. One of the tests that they used is called a 2-day CPET. It's an exercise test, cardiopulmonary exercise test, maybe. On the first day, people with MECFS might look similar to controls. On the second day, people with MECFS and post-exertional malaise show clear differences in their functioning that are measurable. So for someone that needs to acquire disability pay, the 2-day CPET test might be a way to prove that they are sick. Unfortunately, some people do the 2-day CPET and don't recover for weeks, months, or indefinitely, because every time you knock down your functioning, it can take a long time to recover, if ever at all. So it's really important the people with ME/CFS learn to pace. Pacing is sometimes referred to as the energy envelope, being mindful of every single activity you do. You kind of have to plan out in your head, know your baseline, and not go over your threshold for triggering PEM. It can be really difficult because your abilities can change so quickly. One of the easiest ways to think of this is like a battery in a phone. If someone with mild ME wakes up every day with only 70% of their battery fully charged anyways, if they go ahead and spend 100% of that, they're going to go into debt, and they're going to crash, and they're going to have to wait to recover before they can do anything else. So people can get stuck in this crash cycle where their functioning is just low all the time. This is typically the way that I have heard of people getting to the point where they're severe and very severe because of this push crash cycle, doing too much to the point where they can no longer get out of bed or feed themselves. Another way is via catching a virus or a bacterial infection again, or any type of stress that the body has to handle. Everything that we do or see or hear or feel, our nervous systems have to process. The best thing that someone with ME/CFS can do is pace themselves, listen to their bodies, and plan accordingly, taking the most priority items first. It's really hard to say no when you want to do something, and it's extremely frustrating to not be able to do the things that you want to do. I feel extremely grateful to just be out of my dark, quiet room. So my strategy lately for a while has been to be in the dark, quiet room when I can, just to minimize the input that my body has to process so that I can spend time doing things that I want to do, like being with my family, brushing my teeth, taking a bath. The quality of life for somebody with ME/CFS can become quite poor. In terms of being upright or sustaining any type of activity for very long. I can do things longer if I'm flat. So right now I feel out of breath. I feel like I just came up a flight of stairs if I was healthy. My heart rate is 90, which basically means I need to get flat and shut up for a minute. It's called pacing. It's awful. Here's the problem with crashing. My ears are really loud, and my whole head feels like fuzzy and muffled. It's really hard to explain. Like a little sore, maybe. I need to be flat and close my eyes and, be in the dark, minus this adorable crayfish tank I have next to me. And the light from this is too much. I wish I could explain what this feels like. It's not like the light hurts. Okay, maybe the light hurts a little bit. It's not like a normal pain. It's more like a loud. The light is loud. That's a very hard thing to understand. Like I have some pain in my neck and a little nausea and I guess it is like kind of pressure in my head, but not like so extreme like sometimes whenever I stand up.
My eyes, even though they're closed, they're seeing weird things like patterns of darkness and speckly lights, and it's just really loud. Everything's so much. I'm wheezing, which makes me think I should take some Zyrtec or something. It's hard to breathe deep. Because this happening regularly and not being able to walk around the house without going down and collapsing is not great. So I don't really know why I'm crashing, actually. Oh, I guess I was upright for too long, and I just didn't get flat quick enough. So now I must pay. Well, welcome to my life.
There's no FDA approved treatments for ME/CFS. It's my understanding that there's not any medication that has been proven to help enough people. There are lots of off-label medications that people have found improvements with, so it's not like, oh, there's no treatment for this, so what's the point in getting a diagnosis? Unfortunately, I haven't had a good experience with any of the orthostatic hypotension, dysautonomia, or ME/CFS medications. I did have some improvement from a few different things that seem to be more temporary. So I hear that that's pretty common as well. Like, you start something and it might make you feel better for a while, but your body adjusts and it doesn't last. I'm not really sure on that. I kind of hate medication, and it took me a long time. It took me a year of being sick to even try anything. So I do take a bunch of different supplements, make sure my vitamins and all that is good. It's kind of ridiculous the amount of pills I take, but only a handful of them are actually prescription medications. So the Bateman Horne website has a list of off-label medications for the different underlying symptoms that people with ME experience that you could print out and take to your doctor. Some of them are over the counter, some of them are really safe, so it's definitely worth a shot.